I love you more. I love you most.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Decent Wrestling Show. Make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe and check out my friend's channel. He just released a new Malachi Black MV. So go check that out. His channel, I believe I'll put the link in description, but if you just want to search it on YouTube, it's S3V3N. Also on my channel, if you want to check out my latest two videos, I did a Kairi Sane MV, Forever Voyage. Unfortunately she hasn't seen it yet, but I got good feedback on that, and I had a great time making that one. And one I've been working on for quite a while, I released yesterday. 18 great Joshis, my 18 favourite Joshis currently active, and that's why Senshura wasn't in it because she's retired. But my 18 favourite active Joshis with Blood on the Dance Floor as the song. I thought it worked really well, and so definitely please go check that out. And let's get on to the show. NXT 2.0 and NXT UK. So NXT 2.0 started with Imperium taking on Diamond Mine in a 6-man tag team match. And it was a great opening match. The crowd really are not getting behind Gunther. They're chanting Walter, but his name is Gunther and they're going to stick with it. They're not going to change course on that. And again, it's not a big deal. It's literally just a name. It's nothing major. He'll be fine. And I know he'll be fine because this was a hell of a fight. Both teams gave it their all back and forth. Everyone shined in this. Everyone looked good. I still love the Creed brothers so much. And in the end, Gunther picked up the victory with a powerbomb, I believe. So he got the pin as expected. And a big win for Imperium. I don't think this is over. I think this might continue. And I would love to see another match between these two teams. Maybe some sort of stipulation added to it. Tornado tag, maybe. Texas Tornado, something like that. But I'd love to see one more match between these lot. And especially as just a big tag match between Marcel and Fabian against the Creed brothers for the tag titles. That would be awesome. Maybe Creed brothers win the Dusty Classic, we'll see. But Walter and Roderick Strong had really good chemistry in this as well. And it had a big fight feel. Next up was Cora Jade taking on Raquel Gonzalez. 3.25 stars. It was actually a really good match. A really well told story in this one. With Cora fighting for everything to impress Raquel. And yeah, everything looked smooth and this was a really good match. Raquel had a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction, which is why the screen kept going black. Luckily she got it sorted out. But Cora gave a great performance. In the end, Raquel picked up the victory, but a great power versus speed match and much better than it had any right to be. Saray made a return with a hell of an entrance, really cool entrance. She was kept in her schoolgirl outfit with the medallion sort of thing, the sun medallion necklace, and then she walked through smoke and came out on the other side in a new pink and red gear with the sun medallion like sewn into the gear. She had new hair with a grey fringe. She looked awesome. She looked absolutely awesome. She looks like a star. She looks like a superhero, really. And yeah, really awesome, cool entrance, and her theme song still slaps heavy. And she had a squash match win. She won in about 4 minutes. Really good showing for her. And I'm happy for her. And now she's going to be starting a feud with Dakota Kai. They're going to have a match next week, which people will complain about. If Dakota loses, they buried Dakota. If Saray loses, what's the point of bringing Saray back? I just can feel it. I would have Saray win, to be honest. Move Dakota up, and this should be her last feud. Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams and Cameron Grimes had a really good segment. Trick Williams continues to impress on the mic, and Cameron Grimes is very funny as a babyface and he just seems very likable. But Carmelo Hayes, he made fun of Carmelo Hayes' hair, calling him SpongeBob, and Squidward was Trick Williams. Very funny stuff, and sets up their match nicely for in 2 weeks at Vengeance Day. My favourite line was Trick Williams calling Grimes slimy. I'm not slimy, I'm grimy. Next up was Joe Gacy taking on LA Knight. It was set up pretty early in the night when Joe Gacy and Harlan interrupted LA Knight backstage. Pretty decent match. Gave 2 3/4 stars. Pretty good stuff. Only went a couple of minutes though. And just as LA Knight looked like he was going to win, Grayson Waller came out and attacked LA Knight behind the referee's back, causing LA Knight to lose to Joe Gacy. No big loss for LA Knight because it was an interruption. Waller then beat up LA Knight after the match, and it was set up Sang versus LA Knight next week, and if LA Knight wins, the restraining order will be removed. There was a promo with Robert Stone and Von Wagner. Yeah, much better for Von Wagner to have a manager like Robert Stone, and we'll see where this goes. Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo will take place at Vengeance Day, and Pete Dunne is in a rage, and he wants Tony D, and he wants him in a cage. Should be a hell of a fight. I'm looking forward to that one. A great trilogy of matches. Wendy Chu made her singles debut, and her theme song slaps heavy and has no right to slap that heavy. She'll be taking on Amari Miller. It was a funny match, funny debut for Wendy Chu. She definitely has a lot of charisma. She's not a main event gimmick by any stretch of the imagination, but she can be a fun, nice mid-carder and light entertainment. Very good, enjoyable debut. Brooks Jensen was backstage with Dexter Loomis, Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta. Pretty funny segment. Just a really funny segment with Brooks trying to get relationship advice from Indy and Dexter. Indy talking about non-verbal communication, and Loomis just looks at Indy. Apparently that's the hot tub look, and Brooks then tried it on Persia and didn't work at all. Very funny stuff. Just a nice little backstage segment. We then had 2 video packages for upcoming debuts. Draco Anthony, he's some military guy, sounds quite boring to be honest. Nikita Lyons, I believe is how you say it. She's some sort of rapper, entertainer sort of thing. She has crazy proportions, by the way, but we'll see how she goes in her debut. Not sold on her just yet. Speaking of Draco Anthony, he had a match with Andre Chase. Pretty fun. Andre Chase was really fun in this. Draco Anthony stepped on Andre's flag, which pissed off Andre Chase, who then beat him in a couple of minutes. Pretty fun match, and as I said, Draco Anthony I don't see it. Bron Breakker and Tommaso Ciampa took on Legado del Fantasma in a 4-star main event. I gave Imperium Diamond mine if I didn't say 3 3/4, but this one was 4 stars. Excellent tag team match. Bron and Ciampa really work well together. Legado del Fantasma are an amazing team. And yeah, this was high paced, great energy, big moments, big spots, as one of the members of Legado del Fantasma, I believe it was Joaquin Wilde, got thrown off the top rope through the announce table, which was a cool spot. In the end, Bron and Ciampa picked up the victory as expected, but an awesome tag team match. Go out of your way to see this. Early in the night, we had Mandy Rose and Kaylee Ray have a war of words. Great war of words, great from both of them, setting their characters. Mandy Rose more talking about her achievements outside the ring, while Kaylee Ray talking about her achievements inside the ring. She wanted a title match next week. Mandy Rose declined, so Kaylee Ray chased Mandy all around the arena, kidnapped the other members of Toxic Attraction, sent them away. Chased Mandy Rose all throughout the arena, embarrassed her, threw stuff on her, threw a cake in her face. Then, as they went back to the ring, Mandy Rose finally agreed to a match against Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray then laid her out, and that sets up the match for next week, which I think Mandy should retain, in my opinion. On to NXT UK. The opening match was Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter taking on Stars and Mastiff. 3.5 stars. Very good tag match. There was a lot of tension between Stars and Mastiff, as Mastiff really wanted to do it on his own and refused to tag in Jack Stars, which ended up being their downfall. And as I said previously, Smith and Carter work excellently as a tag team. Just a very good tag match to open the show. Tio Man and Di Familia beat up Nathan Frazier as he was on his way to his car. So that continues that feud. Next week it will be Tio Man versus Nathan Frazier, which is going to be sick. We then Isla Dawn taking on Myla Grace. Okay, I'm over this Isla Dawn character, to be honest. Nothing special, there's no point of this match. Nina Samuels and Amale seems to be the next feud for Amale. Let's go Nina. The main event was a Japanese street fight as Meiko Satomura took on Blair Davenport. 3.5 stars, very good match, very good brawl. A nice war between these two. Only went about 10 minutes because it was stopped prematurely. But Meiko had some nunchucks as well, which was really cool. And yeah, she wrapped a chain around her foot and kicked Blair, which was another nice moment. I believe there was kendo sticks involved as well. But yeah, a nice brawl. And Blair tried a jump on Meiko, like a stomp on Meiko on the outside on the apron from the top rope. And she landed funnily on her ankle, and yeah, she's injured, so she's going to be out for a while, expectedly. It looked like a Natsuko Tora injury, like all along the ankle. Not good news for Blair there. Meiko retains. I thought Blair was supposed to win the title here, which is going to be interesting to see how we do in the future. I expect Meiko retains up until Blair's ready to return, and then Blair wins it back. But we get a trilogy of matches out of it, but shame to see Blair get injured that way, and wishing for a speedy recovery for her. Smackdown. Smackdown opened with the one, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns, and the full bloodline. Yes, that includes Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman cut an epic promo, and he is an absolute genius on the microphone. And he cut a very fiery promo about Brock Lesnar being stupid and how none of it was a plan. None of it was a plan. It wasn't a mastermind plan. He just realised that Roman Reigns is the one, basically. And that he doesn't need to protect Roman Reigns from Brock Lesnar. So we're going to continue that feud up until Mania, which is going to be awesome. And then, out of nowhere, Goldberg showed up and got a huge reaction, acknowledged Roman Reigns. He acknowledged that Roman Reigns was his next victim. They're going to have a match, a title match at Elimination Chamber. This is a dream match, spear versus spear. It probably only go like 3 or 4 minutes, but it's going to be an epic match. Obviously, Roman Reigns should be winning this, and I expect he will win this. I don't think they're going to have Goldberg win this one. But the intrigue is there, and the drama's there. So I think this is going to be an epic matchup. It's a dream match. It's going to be a banger. And I expect Reigns to win. And so that's going to be an awesome match. And if this is Goldberg's last wrestling match, then a hell of a way to go out. Hell of a way to go out. This is going to be a banger. Ricochet and Cesaro team to take on Sheamus and Ridge Holland. This was after Ricochet beat Ridge Holland in like a minute. Yeah, Ridge Holland picked up the victory here. So even Steven booking. It was fine. It was okay. It was set up that in 2 weeks it will be Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship, which I think Sami Zayn might win, which will be cool for him. That's going to be a great match, and that's the main event in 2 weeks. Leah took on Natalya and went 3-0 by beating Natalya by countout, and they're going to have a matchup next week, a final matchup, which will be dungeon-style rules. Okay. Drew McIntyre made his return and cut a nice promo before being interrupted by Happy Corbin. He also cut a nice promo. He's just much better on his own. Then Madcap Moss tried a sneak attack, but Drew saw it coming. He got Moss to tell a bad joke and then beat up Moss. It was a good segment, but looks like it's going to be the feud going to Mania for Drew. It'll be Drew versus Madcap Moss at Elimination Chamber. I don't expect great things from this. Who knows, though, Drew can prove me wrong. Then at WrestleMania, I expect we can get Drew and Corbin, which will be a great match, don't get me wrong. And I guess at least it's a featured match with Drew, because I know they like Corbin, so it'll be a high match on the card for Drew. But I would have liked to see him in a title picture, in my opinion. But maybe they're holding it off and they think, well, we'll do Reigns and Lesnar at Mania, and Drew versus Reigns or Lesnar, or a triple threat team will be SummerSlam. Because if they go into the UK in September, I expect they want Drew as champion by September for the UK. Him winning the title at SummerSlam would be a cool moment, and then his first title defense being in the UK would be awesome. So I could see that happening. Then we had a surprisingly great match, 3.5 stars between the New Day, Kofi and Big E, taking on Los Lotharios. Went much longer than I thought it would. I thought it was going to be like a 2-minute squash match, but it went about 8 or 9 minutes, and really great back and forth. There was many times I thought the New Day had won it, but then it kept going. Then the Los Lotharios looked like they had won it, and it kept going. In the end, New Day picked up the victory, but a great showing for Los Lotharios here. And I really want to see them in more segments, because Los Lotharios are actually really very, very entertaining, and I actually really like them as a tag team. So hopefully they get a bit more shine on Smackdown. We then had the main event segment as Charlotte came out to cut a promo with Sonya Deville. Ronda Rousey then came out and announced her challenge for Charlotte at WrestleMania, which leaves the door open for Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. But Ronda and Charlotte was going to be a fun match. If there's anything as good as their first match, then it's going to slap heavy. Ronda then broke Sonya's arm after it, which was, good, breaker. But, alright episode of SmackDown. Some good moments, some weak moments, but overall it was fine. Monday Night Raw. It was just a pretty good episode of Monday Night Raw, a really enjoyable one. And it opened with one of the most enjoyable segments, which was the academic segment with the Quiz Bowl, with Alpha Academy and RK Bro. Just very funny stuff, and all 4 of their personalities really shined. Some great stuff regarding, I guess, weed use between Riddle and Randy Orton. And Gable was absolutely brilliant in his role. And Otis was as well, but Gable really stole the show. Just the way he does comedy. He just does it to perfection. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's not afraid to have fun. And he's just really enjoyable to watch. And he was excellent in this. Don't Boo Education came out again. There was even a sign for it. He got so much heat from the crowd, which was great to see. And he just looks like he's having absolute ball of fun. And it was really funny. And then they were 4-2 up and first to 5. And then they lost. And Gable's reactions were just great in this one. It led to a match when Street Profits came out and made fun of Alpha Academy. It led to a match between those two. Went about 5 minutes, 3 stars, solid match. Angelo Dawkins was easily the MVP of this. He stole the show. He had a great performance, and people really do sleep on Dawkins, but he's great. Gable picked up the victory. So again, he got made fun of in the comedy part, and then went in the ring and took care of business. So great work from Gable, and I'm happy with the shine he's getting. Lashley in MVP promo was fine. MVP's great on the mic. Lashley, he struggled a bit at the start, but it was a fine, okay promo. Just not really necessary, but it was there, and Bobby got a nice reaction from his hometown crowd, which was good to see. The Bliss stuff continued. Okay, I mean, I guess we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but better. These haven't been great. AJ Styles and Damian Priest had a 5-minute match, really fun one. I gave it 3.5 stars. Very good short match, with a great finish with Styles, but these two meshed really well together. And AJ Styles picked up the victory with a lovely, phenomenal forearm, which means that next week there's going to be a US title match. Could Styles win the title? We'll see. I think if Styles wins the title, I could easily see Styles and Edge for the US title at WrestleMania, because I don't think Edge has ever won that belt, which would be a cool story, wrinkle to the story, is that Edge can be like 2 things. I want to fight AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and I want to win the United States Championship. That'd be a cool little story, so hopefully AJ wins that. Miz TV was excellent. I really enjoyed Miz TV. Miz is such a phenomenal heel. Absolutely one of the best heels in the business. And AJ Styles even said it on an interview. He said that Miz is the best heel in the business. And I tend to agree with AJ Styles there, that he is excellent in this. He had Rey, Mysterio and Dominic on there. On his show with Maurice as well was there. And he was phenomenal at being a heel and getting great heat from the crowd. Really good back and forth with Rey Mysterio on the microphone, and he had a great line at the end because Dominic challenged him to a match right then and there. They were going to have a match, and Miz just said, "You're a lot taller than Ray. Are you sure you're not Eddie's son?" Oh, just brilliant line, nice callback, and they had great promotion for 2K22 because obviously Miz was unhappy with not being selected as the cover star, and Rey Mysterio being selected over him. Miz and Dominic had a match, went about a minute, and Dominic won thanks to Maurice trying to interfere, getting caught, getting thrown out, and then Rey Mysterio did what Miz claimed he did last week and pulled him down. And Dominic picked up the victory with his feet in the ropes. So good booking there to make Miz. Because the thing is, Miz is such a good heel because he technically has a point. He's not really wrong. He's got a point, but you kind of don't want him to have a point. If you know what I mean? Like, he's correct, but you're like, yeah, but you're correct, but you're the Miz, so we're still going to boo you. So it's really well done. The 24/7 stuff continued. Funny line from R-Truth, because you can't run. You can run, but you can't hide. Truth, they're hiding and running. Bianca Belair beat Nikki Ash. Solid little match. Nothing out of this world. 2.5 stars. Bianca picks up another W, so that's good for her. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory had another banger. 3.5 stars. I just wish it would have gone a little longer, but overall still a very good match, and Kevin Owens actually picked up the victory after a nice back and forth, and good fire from Austin Theory as well. Again, he continues to impress every week and put on bangers. There was a segment between Becky Lynch and Lita, really well done segment. Really well done segment, both looked good in this one. Becky Lynch dropped Lita, and Lita hit a moonsault afterwards, after Becky went in for more. And there was a good line with Becky Lynch. I believe it said something like, "Without Lita, there's no Becky Lynch. But now there's a Becky Lynch, there's no need for Lita." Excellent line from Becky Lynch. Liv Morgan and Doudrop had a little match. 2.25, decent little match. Doudrop picked up the victory. Solid stuff. And then the main event was Riddle and Rollins. They only went a couple of minutes, and before it started to pick up, Kevin Owens interfered, leading to a tag match between RK Bro and Owens and Rollins. They didn't get a huge amount of time, they got about 8 or 9 minutes, and yeah, very good main event, 3.5 stars. Solid stuff, and Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins picked up the victory. And overall, again, a really good episode of Raw, and I really enjoyed it. It flew by, and was really enjoyable. Stardom. Some notes about Stardom. There is going to be the Mystery Girl, which people are rumouring to be Kairi. One kind of rumour killer for it is the fact that we know one of the clues is that Unagi does not know who it is, does not know the person. She knows the identity of who it is, but she doesn't recognise them. And considering she's had a back and forth with Kairi Sane on Twitter before, not that long ago, that kind of rules out Kairi. Now, the only other person I think it could be is Sayori Anu. It's very possible it's her, or Tei Honma is also a outside chance, but I think it will be Sayori Anu. That's my prediction. Obviously, everyone hopes it's Kairi, but I think I'm going to lean towards it being Sayori. Also, they'll be holding a special New Blood show on the 11th of March, featuring young performers from other promotions and possibly the new rookie for Stardom, which would be very cool to see. I also watched the February 1st show from Stardom, and it was alright, pretty decent show. Saki Kashima defeated Hanan in a solid opening match, if a bit one-sided. Stars took on Queen's Quest, and again, fun match, but nothing out of this world. Julian Tekla versus Mina Unagi was going really well, and I really loved the team of Pink Kabuki, Mina and Unagi, the Drip team. They were excellent together, and they're going to be challenging FWC for the tag titles upcoming, so that should be an awesome match. But And the match was going well until Tekla came in and the match kind of fell apart and got quite slow and dull. Yeah, Tekla really ruined this match. If she wasn't in it, it would have been a great match, but she kind of ruined it. Donna Del Mondo took on Oedo Tai in a 8-woman tag. Again, fine, went a bit way too long, but again, nothing out of this world, but nothing awful. And the main event was for the High Speed Championship, Starlight Kid taking on Natsupoi. Went 30-minute time limit draw, classic time limit draw from Stardom. They are getting a bit out of hand. I mean, I gave it 3 3/4. It was a great match. Nowhere near the level quality of their last match. It was way too strung out. Definitely could have cut 10 minutes from this and made it a much better match. And it just didn't need to be a draw. It didn't need to happen. This match was completely pointless. Completely pointless. Because Natsupoi is now challenging Saya Kamitani for it. What qualifications Natsupoi has to fight for the Wonder of Stardom Championship? She has none. She had 1 title shot at it, lost it, hasn't really done anything in singles since, and she didn't beat Starlight Kid here, but that apparently gives her a title shot. Also, Azumi's going to be facing for the High Speed title. Yes, that's Azumi, who was pinned by Starlight Kid 4 days ago, before this show. So she gets pinned and gets rewarded with a title shot. Oh, Starlight Kid beats Azumi! Azumi means gets a title shot for it. You get what I mean? I'm just saying, if this was WWE, it would be criticised for this awful booking, because this makes literally no sense. Like, people complained about Unagi getting a title shot when Unagi beat Kamitani, so clearly she did deserve a title shot. So that makes no sense. Unagi doesn't deserve the title shot even though she's earned it, but Natsupoi does even though she hasn't? It makes no sense to me. I mean, it'll be a great match, don't get me wrong, but I just think their booking is quite poor here.
I will graduate from TJPW on April 17. I made my debut when I was 40 and now I'm 20. So I'm happy to have achieved 10,000 followers before graduation. Thank you, and I love Marika fans all over the world. So please continue to support me. Love, gal.
Questions. So I asked for some questions on Twitter, and here's what I got. I got 5 questions, and well, let's get into answering them. So, from Alexis, we got, what moment did you realise wrestling was something you loved? That's a very hard question to really answer, but I think the moment I was always a fan for a long while before this, but I think the moment I became like a super fan sort of thing, I would say I don't have like a specific date or moment, but I think it was the whole Daniel Bryan versus Authority feud. That 2013 to 2014 time with that feud and just the story of Daniel Bryan getting to the main event of WrestleMania 30. That whole thing, that whole year of Daniel Bryan in 2013, I think that's what really made me become a super fan. So I have to thank Daniel Bryan for making me a super fan, and Triple H and everyone involved in that, including Randy Orton as well, who, you know, that whole storyline was really what really made me got into wrestling, and then seeing Daniel Bryan get the big main event win at WrestleMania 30 was such an awesome moment. Then when he retired in 2016, man, that was a tough day. I was crying a lot that day, but glad to see he got back a few years later. From the Eel's biggest fan, Kiwi, what's your favourite WrestleMania and why? My favourite WrestleMania. There's been a lot of great WrestleManias. I usually always enjoy WrestleMania. You can go back and say maybe 20, 21 and 22, that was really my golden era of WrestleManias. Because WrestleMania 22 was the first WrestleMania I saw. Well, I only remember the main event, I believe, is all I saw. That's the match that got me into wrestling. 23 was probably the first full WrestleMania I watched. But definitely 20 and 21 are two of the best. I really enjoyed WrestleMania 30. I thought that again was one of the best WrestleManias ever. But and I know the cliche answer is WrestleMania 17, but I would probably say WrestleMania 21 was the best WrestleMania. At WrestleMania 21, you got a whole host of awesome matches. You got Ray and Eddie, who opened the show, had an absolute banger. Undertaker and Randy Orton, who had an absolute banger of a match. One of Undertaker's best streak matches at that point in his career, or in that era. You got Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels having one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. You got Batista and Triple H having a great main event as well. And you got an awesome Money in the Bank ladder match as well in that one. But the only down points was Akabona, Big Show, Trish and Christy Hemme. But you got John Cena and Bradshaw, who had a great feud going into it, and had a solid match. So I'd say that's probably the best WrestleMania. Just an awesome show all round. Kaori, your opinion on Stardom booking / prominence, and which should main event the next Stardom pay-per-view on the 23rd of February. I would main event with Starlight Kid and Azumi. I just think that deserves to main event one show. I mean, Saya Kamatani and Poi, you expect Saya Kamatani's going to retain. They're not going to take title off her this early. So I think the more unpredictable match is Starlight Kid and Azumi. So I think that should really main event. But I think they're going to main event with Kamatani and Poi. But yeah, Starlight Kid and Azumi, it's going to be an absolute banger. They always put on bangers. And this is their first big match in like a year and a half or so. So I would really like to see them main event. So my thoughts on Stardom booking, I think it's weak at times. Because like with Kamatani and Poi, what has Poi really done to deserve a title shot? Like, I know people complain about Unagi getting it, but she at least beat Saya Kamatani like just before she won the title. So then she had a claim for the title. You know, she beat Kamatani. Kamatani then won the title. Why doesn't Unagi deserve a title shot? But Poi, she left for a month and a half, didn't beat Starlight Kid, and gets a title shot. You know what I mean? There's literally no reason for it to happen. I mean, it'll be a great match, don't get me wrong, but it's poor booking. There was no need to do Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. There was no need for it, really. It wasn't like a 5-star match or anything, so it really wasn't needed. Just give Poi a win over, I don't know, Saki Kashima or something. Or have her in a number 1 contendership match against Himeka or something, picks up the win and then faces Kamatani. That would make more sense. Would be a bigger, I would say probably same quality of match, so I don't know. And I don't really care about prominence at all. I don't really care for them, and I hope they're gone sooner rather than later. My best friend, Sarefa Champ, asked 2 questions. This is a long one. What do you think will happen with both WWE and Universal Championships at WrestleMania, title versus title? If not, who walks in as WWE Champ? Who does that person defend against? Does Roman or Brock win their match? I think we're heading to a title match between Reigns and Lesnar. I think that will just be for the Universal title. I think that possibly there's an outside chance that Riddle wins the Elimination Chamber, and we get Riddle and Orton for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. But there's a part of me that thinks the reason they're mentioning title for title so much is because that's what they're going to do. But we'll see. But I think Riddle and Orton could happen at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. I don't think Lashley's retaining an Elimination Chamber at all, to be honest. And then out of Roman and Brock, I think Brock Lesnar wins. And then you can do Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre as a number 1 contender match in, like, I don't know, June or July for SummerSlam, with Drew picking up the win over Roman Reigns. You can always do a shifty main event where Paul Heyman gets involved and costs Roman Reigns the match by accident. Give Brock the win. Then I would do Roman and Drew as previously said. Maybe that ends in a no contest. Then you do SummerSlam, Roman, Drew and Brock in the main event for the championship, with Drew McIntyre pinning Roman Reigns. And then in the UK, you do Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar in the September pay-per-view in the UK. Fly over Brock to the UK. Big match, Drew Brock, main event, with Drew finally slaying the beast again. And yeah, I think that'll be a huge moment. So that's what I would do. Next question. Who/what got you into wrestling? Who/what got you into Joshi wrestling? Do you ever think about stopping watching wrestling? Well, I can tell you for the last thing, no. I will never stop watching wrestling. It brings me too much joy and pain as well. But, football brings me that as well, so I'm used to it. But yeah, I'm never going to stop watching wrestling. So who or what got me into wrestling was Triple H in his match against John Cena. Thought he was a complete badass. That's what really set me in motion to become a wrestling fan. And I've been hooked ever since. I did stop in 2011, I believe, for a year, then came back. And then obviously became a super fan, as previously mentioned, with Daniel Bryan in the Authority segment. But what got me into Joshi wrestling was the Mae Young Classic and seeing Kairi Sane. Because I thought, well, she's awesome. Instantly fell in love with Kairi Sane. She was just so awesome, so much charisma, and had some bangers of match. Every round she had the best match. Then Io Shirai showed up at the next year's Mae Young Classic, and I was like, oh, she's also awesome. Where did this Kairi girl come from? Stardom. Where did Io Shirai come from? Stardom. So I checked out Stardom, checked out some of their matches online, subscribed to their streaming service, and then around 2020, working from home, had a little bit more time in my hands, so I checked out other Joshi promotions. I checked out Gato Move, I checked out Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, completely fell in love with Sena Shiori in TJPW, but found Ice Ribbon and all this, and became hooked into Joshi wrestling, and yeah, been hooked into Joshi wrestling ever since. So yeah, Triple H, Kairi Sane and Daniel Bryan are the people reason I watch wrestling, so prop to them three. Thank you for listening to the Decent Wrestling Show, and arrivederci.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
じゃあねー。